Welcome back, everybody, to Disc Media, a startup story, the podcast where we take you behind the scenes of starting a business from the ground up. And, over the months, over the years, I guess you would say, that we've been doing this podcast and we've been running Disc Media, I've been sharing a lot about our own startup journey. And as you all know, those who've been along the journey with us, we've moved into focusing on other people's startup journeys and focusing on other people's stories, because I think we all learn a lot whenever we take the opportunity to kind of dive into what it takes to get other businesses up and running and going. It is always beneficial. And today we have I think it's going to be a really exciting topic to get into, because sometimes I get asked, about podcasting. Why do you do it? What makes it fun? What makes it enjoyable? But, more so than that, like sometimes what I get asked is, do you make any money doing this? And for me personally, no, not necessarily. However, that is not to say that there are not revenues to be earned in this space. And we have a really special guest today who's going to help us understand a little bit of that, along with a lot of the things that they've done. Joining us today, we have Nathan Gwilliam, who is a serial entrepreneur, has started and spun up a few companies and sold them along the way. The man responsible for adoption.com, for those who may have visited that site, and is currently CEO of PodUp, which is a platform that helps podcasters grow, monetize, and operate like a business, so that maybe I'll learn a thing or two how to run this thing a little bit more efficiently. But Nathan, how are you? Welcome to the program.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on today, Ben.
Thank you. So one of the things I always like to start off with is getting into a little bit of the background of our guest. And so you've done a lot of things in your history, and I kind of read in your bio, you like to kind of look for the shifts that are happening between technology and behavior and kind of capitalize on those opportunities. So why don't you walk us through a little bit of some of the things that you've done and, where you've been?
Yeah. So these shifts that you talk about, I call them tectonic shifts. So think of the world of geology. And in geology, you have these tectonic plates that are moving against each other. And where that happens, you can have really bad things like volcanic eruptions or earthquakes. But you also can have really good things where those tectonic shifts are happening, such as mountain formation. I live right in the Wasatch Mountains, and you can have amazing ski resorts and snow and water that comes down into the valleys as a result of those tectonic shifts and the mountain formation. And the same thing happens in business. The foundational shifts, the foundational plates of business are constantly shifting. And some examples of these tectonic shifts might be AI, right? That's one of the biggest ones we're facing today that is that's foundationally changing how business happens. And the rate at which these tectonic shifts are happening is accelerating. And you look at most big companies today, they are founded based upon leveraging a tectonic shift. You look at Uber, for example. You had yellow cabs and these old school cab models. And then Uber came and they solved almost all of the big problems you had with taking a cab, right? Being able to order from your mobile phone. They leveraged this tectonic shift of the mobile phone and solved, getting someone right to you instead of having to go try to hail a cab. And they let you map from one place to another, and they know payments and standardize so you don't get taken advantage of, and people don't go way out of their way to get extra miles. They have ratings and reviews. So if people provide bad service, they're accountable for it. And because they leverage this tectonic shift, they've transformed the marketplace. And the same thing happens in so many different businesses, right? You look at Netflix versus Blockbuster, right? They leverage the online streaming tectonic shift. So when I go in to start a business, I try to find a tectonic shift and I try to leverage that. I find a tectonic shift and then I find an industry. And how do I leverage that shift within an industry? For example, adoption.com that you mentioned, I founded that in 1996, and that was just after the internet had started. And so we basically said, how can we leverage the tectonic shift of the internet to help children and families through adoption? And so that's what we're all about. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I was thinking. So a lot of my listeners know that I teach and have been teaching for about 20 years, in addition to my business career. And Blockbuster is an example I use often, primarily because I always pose this to students that it's a company that didn't really understand the business they were in, because at the end of the day, they were a content distribution company.
Yeah.
And as things became digital, they didn't realize that if you could put music through a phone line, it's not going to be too long before you can do it with movies. And that's exactly what ended up happening. And they were kind of slow to that transition.
They weren't just slow. They had an opportunity to buy Netflix. The
Yeah.
founder of Netflix walked in and offered to sell for $50 million, and they rejected it. And they thought it was a fad. And it wasn't that many years later when Blockbuster was making worth hundreds of millions of dollars, and they were closing their last store.
Yeah, yeah, and they very well could be bidding for a studio as Netflix is today.
Yeah.
So one thing that really kind of got me interested in the work that you're doing now, your company PodUp, and it's kind of positioned as I read in the intro there, a company that really kind of helps podcasters organize. From my own experience, I can tell you there's a lot that you got to do to put these episodes together, and a lot of things that you track. And you saw opportunity in this space. Tell me a little bit about PodUp and what you've been doing.
Yeah. So when I was selling my last venture, adoption.com, back in 2018, I was working with a mentor, and his name's Russell Brunson. I think he's the best digital marketer of our generation. And he promised me that if I would publish every day for a year, I would be financially free. And so I took him at his promise and I started a show. And it wasn't a normal podcast. It wasn't just audio that I was publishing. It was audio, long video, short video, blogs, social, newsletters, lots of different repurposed types of content from that one original episode. And then I would syndicate it out there to a bunch of different channels. And I was doing this for about 3 months. And I had the realization that I needed 30 different technologies to do this. And those technologies cost almost $2,000 just for my one show. And they didn't integrate hardly at all. They were missing tons of the functionality that I needed. And I had seen what Shopify did. Shopify brought together 100 different technologies into one platform with one username and password, and allowed creators and entrepreneurs to pay one low monthly fee and get access to all of those integrated tools. And I just knew, I could see that somebody was going to use this model in the podcasting space. And I use the word podcasting space, but it's really not the podcasting space. It's the creator space. Because it's not just podcasting, it's blogs and videos and newsletters and websites and social. It's all of these different formats you can create in. And I just knew someone was going to do this, and someone was going to make billions of dollars doing it. And that was my aha moment. I realized, okay, that might as well be me. And so about 6 years ago, I went and hired a bunch of talented developers, and we've been building it for 6 years. We've put about $6 million into this already. And we have launched. We have 60 different tools that are together in one platform as this engine for creators to create a piece of video content, to repurpose it. Tons of powerful AI tools. There's 18 AI tools in here. One of them is called the Repurposer. You put your video in and it produces 15, 20 different pieces of content for you. And then it will publish it on your own website. It'll syndicate it out to 25 different places. It has tools to help you grow it, tools to help you monetize it, to create a venture around that content.
Okay. So this is really cool. So for those, so one of the so many things running through my head. Okay, so when I started this company, Dist Media, you go back, you listen to episode 1. That is the very first thing that we put out starting this company, and our whole ambition was to give people an opportunity to learn this from the ground up. And so, if you've listened to these episodes along the way, you know that we've built a website, you know that we built a newsletter, you know that we went through our SEO optimization pains,
Yeah.
you know that we did the podcast, and now
And
we're putting out content all the time. You're kind of upsetting me a little bit because all, all of this pain
I
that I've
lived it
gone
with
through,
you. I totally know what you're saying.
all of this pain that we've gone through in building this, and you're like, oh yeah, no, I decided to build this one thing that'll just do everything. And you're 100% right. Yeah, the between the website, because we've got Descript, we've got Squadcast, we've got social media content management tools, all of that stuff, and you found a way to wire this all into one offering.
Each of those tools are great tools, right? Descript is a phenomenal editor, uses AI better than anybody to edit. And Riverside is a really good recording studio, right?
Yep.
But when you look at all of these individual tools you need, right? It's going to be 30, 40, 50 tools to really
Yeah.
create a venture around it. And it just gets too cost prohibitive, and it's too hard to download those big audio files and upload them to the different platform and try to get them to play nice. It's like you're duct taping them all together. It's really hard to run a business that way.
No, again, I'm a little irritated because I finally got a workflow down, and now you're like telling me that there's a better way to do it. Which, by the way, that's kind of part of it. I love the fact that there's a better way to do all this stuff.
One of my deals is anybody who has me on their show, like you're doing right now, you can have it for 6 months for free. Just get in and try it for 6 months at absolutely no cost.
Oh my goodness, you're just making this even better. Yeah, well, yeah, no, I mean, I'm definitely going to do that because honestly, at the beginning of the year, I always make this assessment of what am I paying for, what do I need to keep paying for, what can I cut loose at this point, and we're at the beginning of the year, and I'm going through all of that right now. Do I need to re-up on the newsletter software?
You would be shocked how much money you can save. And you're probably not even using a third of the tools you could be using. Because of cost and time, there's probably a lot of things you would love to be using, but you just can't afford the subscriptions. And you'll be shocked how many additional tools you'll have access to.
This sounds I hate to turn this into a personal story here, but I am really excited about diving into this because yeah, I think if you're in this content space, and here's what I love about this too, is that we're probably talking to people who are interested in getting into this. And one of the things, so Nathan, like yourself, most of my life I've been very techy. I've been building computers since I was in high school and have kind of ridden this technology wave most of my life. It's just something I've always been involved in, whether it was digital music or video editing, just all this. I used to edit videos on old VCRs back in the day, right?
I remember that. Yep. Did you ever have the film and cut the film and tape it together?
I did not do that. But I have friends who did stuff like that with Super 8 cameras and editing and things like that together. What I have loved about this technological evolution that we've been in is even like Chat GPT or any of the AI tools are really good at helping you become more efficient at what you do. Not I always like to say AI is an augmentation tool. It's not a replacement tool. It's to help you enhance things and help you be more productive, more efficient. So anytime something comes along, right? And it's Steve Jobs, right? He bundled internet, phone, and email, right? And he brought the trifecta together and put it in one device. So I love when innovation happens, because then it also gives me an opportunity to tell all the young kids, back in my day, we used to have to set switches on cards before you could plug them into the computer to get them to work. This is really cool. Let me ask you this. What have you seen from the content community so far? And are you finding people, getting more creative with these tools that you've provided?
Yeah, we've seen some things that have surprised us, actually. So when we first took this to market, we accidentally created a market that we didn't know we were doing. We started having a lot of CEOs that came to us that just started saying, okay, I need a podcast, but I don't have time. Can you just use your software and do it for me? And so we developed a done for you model. We opened our own building in Jaipur, India, and we've hired 40 people there. And we have creators and editors. Sorry, we have producers and editors and copywriters and marketers and QA testers and all these different people. And the CEOs come in, our team books their guests, our team does their show notes, they show up and record, and then we edit, we do their blog posts, we do their social, the short videos, their images, all their social posts. We build their website, we publish their website, we syndicate it out. We then run their ads, we book them on shows, we do their SEO. We help them. There's 20 different monetization streams we can help them roll out. And we're doing that for businesses. We actually got to monthly break even, cash flow positive, just off of the software-enabled services as a company. And so we ran on that for like a year and a half. And then Black Friday was the first time that we then started our very first big promotion of the do-it-yourself software. So that's what surprised us, is how many businesses were just saying, there's no done-for-you business-grade solution. And we got not distracted, we got focused on that. It's the most surprising first step that we took.
A couple of things come to mind there. And one of the things a guy like Gary Vaynerchuk talks about all the time is every company is a marketing company. That regardless of what you do, you should think about your digital presence and space. Now, you've got a team around that does this and helps with that. But social audiences like authenticity and things being genuine. Are you concerned at all about it being templatized in a way that maybe makes it feel a little vanilla?
I could see that becoming an issue. I haven't noticed that yet, and I haven't had anybody I haven't had that issue brought up.
Yeah.
But I'm sure that could happen. Each episode is individual with the guest. So if we were doing their actual episode, I could see that happen. But in every situation, our clients are the ones that actually do the interviews, and what's their unique audience, their unique questions. Even the questions are unique based upon the guest. So I don't think the episodes feel templatized, but please correct me if I'm wrong. If you're seeing that, let me know, and we would sure love to fix that if it's happening.
All these things just kind of go through my head as, it's funny. I always start out every episode with like a list of questions, and then I get to like two of them. But no, I mean, this is a really exciting opportunity. I know there's a lot of people. So, for example, when I started Disc Media, formed a board and put together a group of people who are my kind of advisors on this, and a lot of them are speakers and coaches. And one of the ambitions that I've always had around what we're doing is to try and help give people that platform. What often happens, like a pattern I've seen, as I'm a Gen X kid who's worked the past 30 years of my career. And I see a lot of people of my generation who are shifting into different careers, moving away from what they've done for the last 20, 25 years, and are moving into coaching or want to, and developing their brand and their platform is challenging. And so this is kind of a testament to the challenges of doing that. But it sounds like you've got a really good kind of plug and play solution for those kinds of folks to help with that.
Yeah, you're trying to create a business around your own expertise. One of the best ways to do that is build a show, right? Not just a podcast, but audio, video, social, blog, all of it, newsletter, and build an audience that gets to know you, like you, and trust you. And then you can prescribe to that audience. Instead of having to do cold sales, you're selling to a group of people that trust you, and you're recommending to them what they should do.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. It goes into the authenticity thing that I was saying, which after you kind of explain that, it makes sense that you have the same tools that everybody can access, but then what makes the content unique is what each individual kind of brings to it. And that's
and which audience they're targeting, and their unique voice to reach that audience, and the trust that they build in the relationships with that audience.
Yeah, and it seems that, I just, as of the taping of this show, I just came back from Podfest, which, by the way, I think you guys need to go,
Yeah,
sponsor. You guys need to sponsor Pod,
I agree.
because that is, that would definitely be, like, I'm excited hearing about it, and I haven't even dove into the product yet, but just knowing the pain. As a matter of fact, kind of thinking about that, what was your breaking point where you said, I got to pull all this stuff together myself?
Yeah, I was just spending too many nights where I had promised to publish every day, and I had a producer that was not as responsible as that person could have been.
Oh,
And so
I've been there. I know.
they're like, that person just finished working for the day at a certain time and wasn't finished. And I had my promise to publish every day for a year. And I was in there numerous times at 11:30 at night trying to get it done, get it published and get it up so I could hit my deadline. And even though I had a producer to help me, it just took me it took me an insane amount of time. I had to hire my producer for 4 hours every day, even after the guest was booked, the episode was recorded and edited. I still had to pay someone 4 hours every day to do the publishing and the syndicating and all the management that had to happen with all the episodes. And obviously, it's a lot easier today to do a lot of those things. We didn't have a lot of the AI tools 6 years ago that we have today. It has come a long way since then, but it was just too much time, too much money, too much effort, too much
It's
pain.
funny. I'll walk you through a little bit of my pain. So, just recently, the last episode that I published of this show. So, I'll walk you through my process a little bit just to give the listeners an opportunity to kind of understand the pain that people go through when we do this stuff. Is so I record in Squadcast, and then I kind of move that over to Descript because they're integrated. So then I go through Descript and I do what is called my first pass edit, and that's where I kind of make things tighter and move all of the content so that it flows really well and all of that stuff. But because Descript is not a really good editor, and because I use lower thirds and I have an intro and I have an outro and it doesn't really do that stuff well, so I then take it out of Descript, move it into usually CapCut because I can move really quickly in CapCut, add in all of those things that I just mentioned. However, last night, for whatever reason, CapCut went down and it went offline.
No.
I have no idea why. So I'm like, all right. So I guess
that always happens right before the deadline you're trying to hit.
So I had to move it into Final Cut. And then I haven't been in Final Cut in a year. So then I'm like, I need to lower thirds. And so then I went to Envato, which I use for all of my music and my photos. And sometimes
we love Envato, by the way.
Stock video.
Yeah.
Pulled some lower third stuff into Motion and then pulled it in. It just turned into this whole ordeal.
And every time you're having to download this monster file size and then you're having to upload it and wait, it's not that easy.
It's not. And then, I'm like, then I got to do the show title and then the description and then the tags. And then, and then finally I get it published. And then, by the way, and then Canva is what I use to create the thumbnails. And then,
and you're like, I'd really like to sleep sometime tonight.
So, and that's all because CapCut went down. Like it just turned into this big hassle of a thing. So creators who have gone through this understand. And again, this is coming from somebody who I'm techie. I get this stuff. I know how to bounce things around and quickly recover from something not working. But man, to know that there's this integrated tool out there I'm very anxious, very excited to take a deeper dive into all of this.
Now, we're not perfect. When you try to build 60 tools and you do it, we're like our AI editor isn't maybe as good as the Descript AI editor. Like we're getting there. We're making great progress. But you look at the Shopify business model and you look at these 100+ tools it's brought together. Shopify doesn't have the best coupon tool on the internet. I could find a better couponing tool, but it's good enough, right? It gets the
Yeah.
job done. And Shopify doesn't have the best inventory management system. There are numerous better inventory management systems, but the one they have is good enough, right? You can get the job done with 100 different tools all integrated together. And it's easy because they're one username and password and one interface. You only have to learn one solution. And that's what we are. We may not be right now today better than every single individual piece that's out there, but we are sprinting and we're running fast and we're getting better and better. And the power is in them all working together like Shopify. And that's why Shopify is a $210 billion company today, because of that power of integration into one platform.
A couple episodes back, we had a gentleman on by the name of Chris Hallberg. And Chris is an expert in management consulting and leadership. And, he kind of went a different route, similar to what you did. Was he looked at a lot of HR tools when it comes to coaching and feedback and setting goals and targets for workers. And he went through a lot of the top kind of tools that are out there and carved out the best pieces of it. And it doesn't do every single thing that all of those other tools do, but it takes the best of what some of those tools do when it comes to management and feedback and integrates them into one thing.
And it's the job done, and it makes it easy to do it.
Yeah, and I think that's an important lesson for developers and entrepreneurs, is that you don't have to be the best at everything, but you can be pretty damn good at a lot of the things,
right,
and be effective.
That's right. And then there's a power in that they're all integrated together. To be able to do this with this, all of a sudden gives you something that nobody else has, the synergy of them all working together.
Yeah, I really like that. I feel like what I'm going to take you up on your offer, and then I feel like I want to come back and do another episode where I go, okay, I've spent a few months working with this, and I'm not the kind of person who likes to tear people down. Like, I'm all about building up. So I'm very yes and. So yeah, I'll love to give you my feedback. And
I'm sure as you get in there, you're going to find lots of things that we can do to improve. And we want that. So that's the beauty of where we're at right now. Like, you can build it for 6 years. You can put it in 6 years into it, $6 million into it, and you can build what you think people want. And we've had users in there for a year and a half now, but there comes a point where you just got to dump tons of real users in there, and you've got to take their feedback and find out what users really want. And so that's where we're at. We would love any feedback you can give us. And I think you'd be shocked how quickly we get it implemented and fixed.
Yeah, I'm very excited about checking this out. So let me ask you this. What is your next step kind of plan? What are you guys most excited about?
Just rolled out that repurposer tool. And we brought together a whole bunch of our different tools into one. So basically, after you get done recording, you hit a button and you say, repurpose my content. And we basically sat down with a crazy, amazing, talented team. And we said, if money was not an object and you could do anything you wanted to repurpose this content, where with a click of a button, we gave people all of the different content elements and we did everything to it. We removed their background noise. We enhanced their audio. We adjusted the eyeballs to look at the camera, like anything. You could do anything you wanted to repurpose that video and get it ready with the click of a button. What would you do? We've rolled out the phase 1 already. Friday, we rolled out phase 2, which is a bunch of UX stuff to improve it. And over the next 3 months, we've got like 40 or 50 different things that are coming to that repurposer. But I think that repurposer piece is just going to change how podcasting happens. I can't imagine people podcasting without using a tool like that. That one tool, one of our 60 tools, will save you 4 or 5 hours for every episode that you're publishing, and help you do a lot of things you're probably not doing now because you don't have time to do it. And that's just one tool of 60 that we're working on. One other thing that I'm super excited about is we are committed. So this is the direction from our board of directors. We are committed to being the monetization engine of podcasting. And so we already have 10 or 11 monetization tools that are out there. In this next quarter, we've got, I think, 4 more that come out. Our membership tool comes out. Our event management tool comes out. Our webinar tool comes out. We are giving people this suite where you can say, okay, you've created your content. You've built your audience. Now here's 20 different ways you can actually make money from that audience. And these creators that have just spent their heart and soul and have given years and are giving so much value, like 90% of them are quitting because they're not getting enough value for what they're putting into it. I think it's a crime to see the pod fade that's happening. And the pod fade's happening because people get there and they say, I'm having to put in too much effort and it's not worth it. I'm not getting enough out of it. And our goal is to solve pod fade so that these people that have important things to say, we're going to make it so I think it takes me 80% less time to run a podcast than it did before the software. So it takes 80% less time, and then you can make a bunch more money with 20 different revenue streams. All of a sudden that equation makes sense, where you're saying, I'm putting in this effort and it's not worth it, right? I'm putting in this effort and I'm getting this out of it, so it's not worth it. Pod phase happens because of this spread, right? So we're trying to bring effort down, right? And we're trying to bring monetization up so we can stop pod fade. Right? We can allow creators to have a voice and have it make sense and be worth it for them to do it.
Wow. Something I've been sharing with my audience recently. I came out, just finished my first book, and then I have this big not for resale band on the bottom. So just a proof copy. But, it's funny. The question I get asked most often, because I have a day job and then I teach in addition to that day job. And this is something I do because I'm passionate about it, because I love doing it, because I love creating, because I love keeping my idle hand busy with.
But what if you could do it full time and it made sense, right?
Well, I will say this. So,
and if it didn't have to be a hobby, yeah. Keep going.
I'm always very, very honest about this. I really enjoy the work that I do in my 9 to 5 and the people that I do it with. I don't know that I would be like, whoa, I want to do it. I would love to make more doing doing my fun stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't know that I would ever see this as a thing of like, oh, I just 100% want to do this, because my problem is, if I did this full time, I'd go find something else to do. So that's just the way I am. So I like the fact that I have a full-time thing that is the thing that I focus my energy on in the consumer goods world. And this other thing is what I do as my fun. They're both fun, but this is my creativity fun.
Our goal is to make it so that you can make enough money out of your creativity fun that maybe you want to do it as a venture and make it, and that it could provide for you if you wanted to.
Yeah, no.
Maybe you got to where you did 2, 3, 4 podcasts that are building your media empire.
I do enjoy the thought of that. And there are certainly more ideas. But to your point, as a matter of fact, just today I was having a conversation with my daughter, and she is an actor. And she is working on a project. And I said, it would be really cool if you chronicled this whole thing. Since you guys are in development right now, like just chronicle the whole journey of it and bring people along. And I was half thinking like, oh, I'd love to do a podcast with her on it. And then I thought of all the work that it takes to do it. And I was like, I don't want to volunteer to do that because I just don't have the bandwidth. But to your point, I mean, to give creators a platform and a tool to help them. I know there are people in this audience and others that are like, I would love to be creative full time as the thing that I do. So even though for me, I'm on the fence about it, but others I know would love to. And I love the fact that you've made this accessible. Like you've democratized the pain of putting podcasts and content together. Because, to your point, when you think about this, so a question I have is, the algorithms, the YouTube, TikTok, everybody is always kind of moving and shaping what they prefer. And so right now, YouTube is all about long, medium, short when it comes to content. And they encourage creators to have your long form content, which is, your 30-minute plus videos, your mid form, which is like 5 to 8 minute videos, and your short form, which is like less than 2 minute videos, and shape your channel with all of this stuff.
Yep.
And for a lot of creators, I mean, that's tough. It's hard. I mean, Descript helps me, do the short form stuff, and some of the mid form stuff. But sounds like you guys, what you've developed is an approach that really helps to manage and monitor all that. And how, at a push of a button, is it to just disseminate all that out there and then get it to your, I assume that you have
Your tool.
yeah.
You integrate your platforms once and it pushes them out for you automatically. We have not integrated the syndicator tool into the repurposer yet. And that's one that we are running as fast as we can to do over the next month or so. But the syndicator works like you create your content and then it pushes it out. But now with the repurposer, you repurpose it and then it pushes it out. So we're getting there.
Again, I mean, look, it's one of those things where you go, way better than it used to be.
Yeah. And over the next 3 months, it's going to be much, much better than it is today, even.
And so now I heard you say earlier also that you have integrations, I imagine, into WordPress.
We do have a tool that allows you to publish. If you're creating content on our platform and you're managing it on our platform, but you have an existing WordPress site, let's say you're a business, you're a corporation, and you use us to power your podcast website, and then you want to dynamically display your content on the homepage of your corporate website or something like that. We have tools that allows you to create what you want it to look, change your colors and how many you want to display. And then you take that little widget and you put it over in WordPress or Wix or whatever website you want it to be on. And you can display your dynamic content on those other websites.
I got it. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. And so what does pricing look like?
We did a Black Friday deal it's about $20 a month for our lowest level package, about $50 a month for our mid-level package. It was about $150 for monetize, our everything kind of unlimited package. Not bad, $150 a month compared to almost $2,000 a month to buy all the individual tools.
Yeah, I'm sitting here going through my head. I'm like, all right, carry the one.
Yeah. When I was podcasting, I was paying $150 a month just to Libsyn. It was just one tool, not including all of the other tools. So
yeah. No, there's definitely some scale there. And I know, some people might, especially I think if you haven't gone through this, and I think, this is one of the things Shopify does really well too. Like they, you start getting into it and then you're like, oh, but then I need this. And then I need that. And
they all get you in for $15. And then like with Libsyn, right? I started at $15 a month. And then within 3 months, I'm paying $150 a month because I'm publishing every day and I'm doing 30-minute episodes.
One other quick question I have. So like this show uses Podbean. You've mentioned Libsyn. There's also Blueberry out there as well. Are you guys also the hosting platform for the content?
We are the hosting platform. We're the website builder. We build your own. You go in and you pick a template, and then there's 600, 700 different that you can then just drag and drop onto your site and build your podcast website. And then when you publish your content, you can dynamically post it over on your website. And website. We have an engager tool that when you post your content out there and people are like posting comments, we have one inbox where you can see comments and you can respond from one place, trying to bring all of those necessary tools into one place.
And so because currently right now, like I'm using Social Pilot, but there's Hootsuite, there's a number of different content management or social media management tools that are out there. Are you guys also providing that as well?
Yes, we are. Hootsuite is great, but it only works for social syndication, right?
Yeah.
When you're a podcaster, you don't just have social syndication, you have audio syndication, you have video syndication, you have blog syndication, right? You have lots more you've got to push out. So Hootsuite only does a small piece of it. We do all of that syndication from one place.
Wow, you've really made my day. Because I am very anxious to get in and drive this thing around because wow, I know for some folks, like you said, I mean, $150 a month is not it's not crazy.
Yeah.
It really isn't because yeah, when I add up all of the tools and I think about the newsletter and the social media tool and the web hosting or the not web hosting, but
The
even yeah,
podcast hosting. Yeah.
podcast hosting, but even to have a integrated website built into all of that as well. Wow, I am very excited to dig in and learn more about all this. Um, Nathan, I know we're going a little bit over here, and I apologize about that. I always try to value people's time, but how do people find you and this amazing thing that you've built?
Yeah. So if you want to go try a free trial of podup.com, go to podup, PODUP.com. And as of now, you can get a 30-day trial. Depending on when you publish this episode, we did a big Black Friday sale and we capped our number of users so we can make sure we take good care of them. And so right now we have a wait list today, but hopefully over the next few weeks, we're ready to turn that back on and start taking new customers. So if the wait list is still there when you go, join the wait list. We'll let you know as soon as we're accepting new users in the system. Ben, if you go register and then shoot me an email, we'll get you added as a user now and not make you wait for the waitlist to be over.
Thank you. Yes, I have a feeling that you're going to have my money soon if this all works out well.
Well, not for 6 months. You get a free 6-month trial of this if you want.
I'm gonna, pardon my, I'm gonna use the hell out of that because I really, if everything, I can't imagine you'd put yourself out there if everything that you're saying is not true. But like I said, I came back from PodFest and I'm like, why weren't you guys there? I get it if you got a waiting list, but man.
We're getting there. We're getting there. Hopefully next year we'll be there and we'll be ready for the masses. We want to fail small instead of fail big. We want to let smaller numbers of users in and get people in and let them tell us how we need to improve and then give us time that we can make all those changes and then take the next group. And instead of dumping too many people on it all in at once and building a bad reputation.
Very wise. Well, man, Nathan, thank you so much. This has been the best phone call I've had. The best personally for me. One of the best I've had so far this year. This is amazing. I can't wait to get in and share with you my feedback. Sounds like you guys have just this amazing thing.
And if the audience knows they need a podcast but they don't have time, they can go to podallies.com. That's PODALLIES.com. And they record the episodes. They show up for the conversations, and then we do essentially everything else for them. We even book them on other shows to help grow their audience.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Wow. I am very excited about this. Man, Nathan, thank you so much for all that you've done for this community because this is big. It really is. Man, anybody who knows the pain of putting content and shows together and stuff like that, a lot of us, we do this because we love it and we do it because we enjoy building community and building audience and just knowing that we have these great tools. This is amazing. Everybody, thank you all for checking out Disc Media Startup Story. Like, share, subscribe. All of that helps. Tell your friends. Tell your creator friends about this episode, especially because I can guarantee you they will send you extra Christmas presents because you're going to make their day. I promise you. All right, everybody. Thank you all so much. Thank you for checking out the show. We'll catch you next time. Have a good one. Thanks for listening to Disc Media, a Startup Story. This podcast was produced and edited by Ben Olmos and is a production of Disc Media Corporation. If you're interested in learning more about anything you heard on this episode, please reach out to us at podcast@discmedia.com. You can also get more information about this and other episodes or information about our guests by checking out dailypitch.news, our business and insights publication focused on helping managers, leaders, and entrepreneurs get better at what they do.
$100 billion.
Thanks for listening to Disc Media, A Startup Story. This podcast was produced and edited by Ben Olmos and is a production of Disc Media Corporation. If you're interested in learning more about anything you heard on this episode, please reach out to us at podcast@discmedia.com. You can also get more information about this and other episodes or information about our guests by checking out dailypitch.news, our business and insights publication focused on helping managers, leaders, and entrepreneurs get better at what they do.